Have cashiers ever judged customers for their purchases? If so, tell your strangest story. In my youth, I worked as a cashier for many years. To answer your question, no, I didn't care. I didn't care about anything. I didn't want to be there at all. Even if you decided to buy gasoline and a lighter from us and told me you were going to set your mom on fire, I would only ask one question. Sir, do you need a receipt? That's exactly how it was. When the management came to me after the shift and asked if anyone had bought products A, B, and C during the day, I usually had no idea. A guy buys frozen pizza, 6 cans of Bud Light, a pint of Ben & Jerry's ice cream, and a pack of cigarettes. Me? Guess you're having fun while your wife is out of town? Him. My wife has been out of town for 17 years. That was the last time I allowed myself to use that phrase. The only situation where I really judge someone is if a customer takes diapers, baby food, or something obviously intended for a child, and then returns the item because they don't have enough money for beer and cigarettes. I often visit grocery stores for work. I constantly see people buying lottery tickets, cigarettes, and beer, but refusing to buy their children a treat because they supposedly have no money. Let's not rush to conclusions. Maybe those cigarettes and beer were for the child too. No, I never judge. I once had a guy. He came in at 1 a.m., bought cat food, beer, and Vaseline. As I was ringing him up, he said, "Dude, it's not what you think." Good times. Since I make sandwiches, I constantly judge people who order sandwiches with strange combinations of ingredients. You say you want a blueberry bagel with a tomato? Well, as you wish, dude. Ironically, the last sentence doesn't sound disapproving at all. In Canadian, that means, as you wish, you freaking weirdo. When I worked in a grocery store, one evening, I witnessed 2 completely opposite types of shopping before a date. Guy number 1 bought a dozen roses, grapes, strawberries, and whipped cream. Then guy number 2 came in and bought pizza rolls and condoms. Personally, I judged fat people whose diet consisted of chips, soda, and cigarettes. I know there are many people on Reddit claiming that obesity is usually unrelated to diet, but damn, for the 2 years I worked as a cashier, I was amazed at how much crap fat people bought for themselves and their fat kids. Yes, when you're trying to lose weight, diet is crucial. I have a completely sedentary lifestyle, spending all my free time sitting at the computer. I usually weigh around 82 kilograms, a bit much for my height, but not critical. However, as soon as I cut out all sugars and preservatives from my diet, my kilos start melting away, and I can still sit on my ass doing nothing. I once had a couple who bought unlubricated condoms and a pack of butter. I barely held myself together while ringing them up. I doubt there was a connection between those items. If the guys aren't dumb, they know that oil-based lubricants destroy latex. And if they are dumb, well, let them enjoy their buttery baby. So I worked at Dollar General. One night, a guy confidently stormed into the store, and I greeted him as appropriate. He was in his own world and didn't care about formalities. He went straight to the movie shelf, grabbed some trashy kung fu movie, and came back to me. I rang up the item. The movie cost $5.46. The guy reached into his pocket and pulled out a bag of nickels, 5-cent coins, and 1 penny. This guy brought 109 nickels and 1 penny to buy some crap movie with a title like Kung Fu Masters, whose budget likely didn't exceed $100. Man, I've never had such respect for anyone as I did for that guy. The dude knew what he wanted, and he got it. I work in a supermarket. A guy comes in and buys $300 worth of cherries. Cleared the shelf of every single cherry. It wasn't even on sale. To this day, I have no idea why he needed so many cherries. I usually didn't judge anyone unless the person was buying an obscene amount of crap. My favorite customer was a guy who once bought 2 cans of tuna, a large pack of disposable razors, and several cans of women's shaving cream. While I was ringing it all up, I couldn't help but giggle a bit. The guy looked at me with a confused look. I asked, "Are you planning to shave a cat?" The guy looked at his purchases and started laughing wildly. By the time he left the store, we were both in tears. The others didn't hear us, so we looked like some lunatics. A similar situation happened with my stepfather. Once, we picked up a small orphaned goat, and my stepfather went to the store to buy goat milk and baby diapers for it. The cashier looks at the items and says, "Oh, do you have a baby who drinks goat milk?" My stepfather replies, "No, we have a little goat that wears diapers." Everyone laughed, but something tells me the cashier didn't believe him. A few years later, that little goat became the most beloved child in the family, surpassing me and my brothers, sisters. I used to work in a very posh porcelain shop. We had a set where prices ranged from £2,000 for a dessert plate to £25,000 for a baking dish. Yeah, all the porcelain was ugly, pretentious, and wildly overpriced. If you bought something from this set, I would definitely think you were an insensitive bastard with more money than taste. Minus £25,000 is about $40,000. You could buy a new Audi for that money, or a baking dish. Many years ago, I worked in a pharmacy that had a liquor section. One of our clients I'll remember for the rest of my life because she broke my heart. She was elderly, over 60, maybe even 70, but always very clean and tidy, despite obviously having very limited income. She was very polite. Every morning she came to us and bought the same set, a pint of the cheapest vodka, a can of cat food, and a lottery ticket. After about 6 months of such purchases, I decided to ask her how her cat was doing. And it turns out she never had a cat. She bought that cat food because it was cheap and good enough to live on. I was so shocked. I couldn't imagine that this sweet woman would eat cat food to afford a bottle of vodka and a lottery ticket. I still can't get over it. No, 10 seconds after you leave, I won't remember your face or what you bought. Glad to see your comment. I also worked as a cashier for several years and never judged anyone for their purchases because I forgot about the customer the moment they walked away from the register. I was always too busy thinking about how much I wanted to go home. The worst thing is when a customer comes back into the store 30 seconds later and you greet them again like you're meeting for the first time. It's always very awkward when the guy says he already bought something from you just a minute ago. Edit it, or when you say hello to the same customer 7 times a day, asking if they need help and inquiring if they're aware of our special offer. When guys bought tampons or pads, I always thought, what a great guy. Never understood why guys are embarrassed to buy women's products. It's direct proof that they're getting some sex on the next week. Saturday, 9 a.m. A guy comes to the register with 2 bags of wine and a hangover remedy. His face is full of sadness and sorrow. Our eyes meet. He slightly nods with an expression like, "I'll regret this, won't I?" I slightly nod back, and he leaves. I usually don't care what people buy as long as they're polite. Only one regular customer annoys me, who likes to grab all sorts of junk, and then at the register pays for only a third of the items. Though she still spends a lot, and she's extremely rude, I judge her completely. I worked for 11 years in a liquor store. I didn't really care what people bought, but I paid attention to the quantity and price. One woman bought 3 50-gram bottles of vodka for $9.99 every morning. I judge old ladies for any purchase at Ross, a chain of discount clothing stores. They come to us every day, buy a bunch of useless crap, clothes, shoes. Then they go to the neighboring Ross and return all the items to buy new crap again. It's just an addiction. I also worked at Ross, and I can confirm, for every 10 items sold, there are 9 returns. In our store, all the items were so worn and scuffed from endless returns that our store could essentially be considered an expensive second-hand shop. I don't judge people by their purchases. I judge customers only by how they treat other customers and store employees. I'm a cashier at a grocery store. I try not to judge people I see for 5 minutes a week, but damn, if you're buying wet items or dripping meat or mollusks and don't put them in plastic bags, then I just hate you. I hate you with all my heart. I also worked as a cashier. I judged only people with children who paid with food stamps but didn't buy proper food. They would fill their carts with soda, chips, cookies, etc. There was no meat, beans, rice, fruit, or vegetables. Nothing that would be nutritious and filling for their children. And I would understand if such purchases were one time, for example, for a child's birthday. But no, it was the same people who bought the same crap every week. Probably my answer doesn't quite fit this question, but I was always curious why the same elderly gentleman comes to us every week and buys a small washer for 6 cents. He comes every week, at least once, to buy one washer. Why not spend a couple of bucks on a whole pack of washers? So he doesn't have to go to the hardware store anymore. I don't get the point. Some people just need an excuse to leave the house. If he bought a whole pack, maybe he wouldn't have any more reason to leave his place. My dad is the same. He can take a package to the post office, but leave letters that already have addresses written and stamps stuck at home because he doesn't want them to just sit at the post office for 3 more days. He says he does it to avoid paying for everything at once. But I know it's all about him working from home and looking for any excuse to get out somewhere. I don't judge at all. I don't care. Decided to buy the latest part of Air Bud on DVD, elongated shaped vegetables, and a bottle of lube. I don't care. Have a great time. Want to buy a zombie mask and a box of condoms? Hope you get lucky this Halloween. I've been standing here for 7 hours. My back hurts. My feet ache from flat feet. And I just don't care. Watch other videos on our channel.